How would the Simpsons keep calling
Predicting
it?
everything.
They predicted the Apple Vision Pro. There's an old Simpsons episode where people are walking around with those goggles and they're falling into manholes, and now you're seeing people out there in the street swiping things and moving away and wearing these goggles on the street.
From manned missions to Mars to AI robots, NFTs, and mind control through music, these are 10 Insane Simpsons predictions for 2025 that we pray do not come true. In the Simpsons episode Marge-ian Chronicles, Season 27, Episode 16, the Simpsons volunteer for a mission to colonize Mars. Initially set for a distant future, their mission gets bumped up when funding starts to dry up. But when it's time to launch, Marge and Lisa are ready to board the spaceship, only for the shuttle to fail at the last minute. Now, I know what you're thinking, the Simpsons predicting Mars missions, that's a bit of a stretch, but in reality, we've been hearing a lot of talk about Mars recently. Elon Musk has been talking about colonizing Mars for years. In fact, his company SpaceX has been testing Starship launches for potential Mars missions. Musk has even said that he envisions regular trips to Mars to eventually build a self-sustaining colony, saying, quote, "No matter what happens with landing success, SpaceX will increase the number of spaceships traveling to Mars exponentially with every transit opportunity. We want to enable anyone who wants to be a space traveler to go to Mars. That means you, your family, or friends, anyone who dreams of great adventure." NASA is also working on sending astronauts to an asteroid in 2025 and are hoping to send crewed missions to the Red Planet by the 2030s. The idea that we could be looking at Mars colonization within the next few decades is looking pretty plausible. Let's just hope things won't play out like they did in the cartoon with the shuttle exploding, but the fact that we are seriously talking about sending humans to Mars in the near future is something that really can't be ignored. Now, in the classic Simpsons episode Itchy and Scratchy Land from Season 6, the Simpsons visit a high-tech theme park where the violent cartoon antics of Itchy and Scratchy come to life. Not through human actors and costumes, but through robots. Now, this isn't exactly a groundbreaking idea, right? Sci-fi has been toying with the concept of robots replacing jobs pretty much since the beginning of sci-fi, but all the same, looking at it today, we're seeing robots become more and more advanced every year. And with AI becoming a massive force in our world, it's not that far-fetched to imagine a future where instead of actors in cartoon character costumes, we have full-on functioning robots bringing some of our favorite animated characters to life at theme parks. In the Simpsons episode Bart to the Future, which we'll be bringing up multiple times on this list, which is Season 11, Episode 17, in case you want to give it a rewatch, Lisa Simpson becomes the first female president of the United States, but what else did that episode predict? Well, it also forecasted Donald Trump's presidential run. Remember, this was years before he even ran for office in 2016, so if the Simpsons got that right, maybe we should start taking their political predictions a bit more seriously. Also, buying a Christmas tree during the Halloween season. In this opening scene, Homer, dressed as Bender from Futurama, pulls back the flap of his costume to reveal a sticker reading Ivanka 2028. Now, the idea of Ivanka Trump running for president might seem kinda silly, but I feel like I'm probably speaking for a lot of us when I say I really don't know what to expect from the world I'm living in these days. I don't think anything would surprise us at this point. Will she run in 2028? Only time will tell, but we wouldn't be shocked if we start hearing whispers about it in the very near future. Now let's talk about something that might be a little closer to home, pun intended. In the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode from Season 13, Marge upgrades the family home into a state-of-the-art smart house called the Ultra House 3000. If you remember the episode, it's basically a 2001 A Space Odyssey parody, and of course the house goes rogue, starts trying to kill Homer. A bit over the top, sure, but here's the thing. Smart homes are already here, and they're getting way more advanced. We've got devices like Alexa and Google Home that can control everything from the lights to your music, but the more people rely on these gadgets, the more we've started to notice some weird quirks. Lights turning off without command, or Alexa butting in on a conversation without being asked. It's like every now and again these machines start to act a little too sentient. So while we haven't yet seen a smart home completely turn on its owners and try to kill them, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility maybe. With AI getting smarter and tech getting more embedded in our everyday lives, who knows, maybe one day you'll have to make sure your smart fridge isn't secretly plotting your demise. Next up, let's talk about mind control through music. In Season 12, Episode 14, New Kids on the Block, Bart, Nelson, Milhouse, and Ralph form a boy band called Party Posse. Their first song is a massive hit, but their song is actually being used for subliminal mind control. In the music video for their song Drop the Bomb, part of the chorus goes, Yvan ik nioj, the lyrics of which are spelled out on screen, while Lisa discovers that when spelled out backwards, the line becomes join the Navy. In the episode, the music producer behind the boy bands is revealed to be a Navy lieutenant, using music as a covert tool for recruitment. While the plot itself is clearly ridiculous, it does touch on something that's not as far-fetched as it sounds, the idea of subliminal messages in media. Now, this is of course nothing new, but in a world where we're more consumed by media than ever before, who's to say we won't see more subtle psychological tactics used in pop music, social media, movies, and the countless shows we stream online. I think the most ridiculous and hard to believe part about this episode is actually Nelson being in a boy band, and that's saying a lot. The Simpsons also have an AI robot takeover in an episode. In the episode Them Robot from season 23, Mr. Smithers calls all the workers into a meeting. And what's the big announcement? Well, Smithers proudly reveals an army of AI robots, telling the employees, you will train them and they will replace you. Creepy, silly and fun though, because it's The Simpsons and the robots are fittingly voiced by Brent Spiner, who played Data in Star Trek, but also this is just a little too real. According to a 2023 report from Business Insider, the World Economic Forum estimates that 85 million jobs will be replaced by robots by 2025. This whole AI takeover thing isn't just some wild idea, it's already starting to happen. And while robots might make certain jobs easier or more efficient, the flip side is that millions of people might lose their jobs as a result. Next, let's talk about something a little more uplifting, literally, hover cars. The Simpsons wasn't the first to dream up flying cars. I mean, science fiction has been teasing them for decades, but what's really cool is there's actually a company called Samson Sky working on bringing this dream to life. They've developed a flying car called the Switchblade, which, to be honest, is more like a car with retractable wings rather than a full-on hover vehicle. Still, it's pretty cool. The company claims it's the world's first flying sports car, and while it might not be the classic hovering car we've all imagined, I think it still counts. At least it's creeping towards it. The Simpsons also predicted Trump's 2024 run. This one also ties into the Barbie movie release, but we'll get to that in a minute. So back in 2015, there was a Simpsons short called Trumptastic Voyage. In a scene where Homer flies by a billboard, we see a sign that reads Trump 2024. At the time, it was a totally out there prediction, right? Well, we all know Trump ran in 2024 and won, but that's not the only eerily accurate prediction from The Simpsons when it comes to Trump. Fast forward to 2023, when the Barbie movie hit theaters, and on the same exact day, Trump was arrested. Coincidence? Maybe, but if you watch the episode Lisa vs. Malibu Stacy from season 5, episode 14, you'll catch a news report mentioning the release of a new Malibu Stacy doll. Toward the end of the segment, the anchor casually adds that the US president has been arrested. In 2023, that moment felt way too familiar. The fact that The Simpsons nailed both Trump's political comeback and the exact timing of the Barbie movie's release and the rest stuff, I don't know, it's just, it's really weird. Economic collapse. Now that's fun to think about. Well, again, in Bart to the Future, the United States economy crashes. And in the episode, it's supposedly directly tied to Donald Trump's presidency. While the idea of an economic crash under Trump seemed like a far-out prediction at the time, the reality we're facing today is far from rosy. I mean, just in general, the world's economy is struggling. After the global disruptions of 2020 and beyond, lockdowns, the rise of remote work, supply chain chaos, it's just no surprise that things haven't exactly bounced back. Sure, we're not talking about a full-on economic meltdown just yet, but the signs of something major and destructive are definitely there. Here's something that's already here though, NFTs. In The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode Wild Bart's Can't Be Token from 2023, Mayor Quimby announces that the town's art museum is being closed down because all art is now going to be sold as NFTs. Now, at the time, NFTs were already a thing, but they were nowhere near as huge as they became a few years later. NFT art was exploding a couple years back, but it hasn't gone away. Sure, this episode premise was a little ridiculous. Art museums shutting down for NFTs might seem a little out there, but look around and you'll see it's not actually that far off. We've got virtual art galleries popping up, VR headsets for experiencing art, and AI-generated artwork that's been pushing the boundaries of what's considered real art. The point is, a lot of folks have plenty of things to entertain themselves with from the comfort of their own home now, barely ever feeling the need to go out and engage with the world, let alone going to an art gallery. So museums and art galleries shutting down is really not that far-fetched. With all that said, I've been your host, James, and I'll catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next video.